Hi, my name is M.Aydemir. I'm an industrial designer and I teach at OCAT University in Toronto. My background in industrial design has led me to pursue the idea of creating products that matter to people following the central tenet that form follows function. This thesis assumes that neurotypical people are responsible for understanding and responding to kids with autism in their communication practices and seeks to enable children with ASD the ability to practice standard communication and recognize faces and emotions in order to improve social communications with individuals who do not understand autistic communication. Research shows that children who experience a lack of sensory development develop problems in education and learning. High and mid functioning autistic children have many social and emotional challenges, one of which is a difficulty in recognizing faces. Facial and emotional recognition in autism were first studied by Tim Langdale, a psychologist at University College in London in 1978, who studied two groups of children with autism who were tasked with identifying people's faces in photographs. His research shows that once the faces were selectively concealed, for instance, revealing pieces of the mouth or eyes separately, problems began to occur in the way people with autism process and understand the faces under examination. Both adult and child participants found that identifying faces using the eyes was easier when compared to other features of the face. Furthermore, behavioral studies and neuroimaging findings show that problems in the processing of facial recognition area are a result of both a natural impairment in neural systems and a consequence of limited social interest. These findings suggest that early age experiences with faces can specifically help to improve this important developmental skill in many children with autism. Many children with autism may show central nervous system irregularities that can affect the required visual input that allows for face recognition. This may as well limit the visual understanding that is required for the development and activation of facial processing in the nervous system. Also, many other issues can result in development of facial processing due to the lack of auditory, visual, touch, and other sensory stimuli. Facial and emotional recognition problems can create large amounts of stress on many children with autism. Through under or overstimulation, they may become exhausted and find it difficult to cope with daily routines. Many children with autism may also miss developmental milestones in transitions, certain activities, locations, people, and having to deal with certain constituents, such as elements of conversations or tasks. As will be shown in this thesis research, there is great opportunity for positive interventions in the facial and emotional recognition in a sensory processing environment for some children with autism through this thesis research. This thesis creates an environment that includes facial recognition tools while supporting sensory issues like auditory, touch, and visual with digital technology and digital feedback. The project combines two development therapies under the same roof, facial and emotional recognition and sensory development, in order to produce faster and more measurable results in interventions. Many children with autism have problems connecting with others and experiencing empathy. They are expected to show empathy by others who do not understand the behaviors of autism. As stated earlier, if neurotypical people can understand the communication practices of children with autism better, they are more likely to appreciate the differences that autism brings. I hope neurotypical people will accept differences, as mainstream society has not achieved this yet. This project helps kids to recognize faces and moods. This thesis seeks to create a connection between face and emotion recognition and sensory satisfaction in order to enhance learning with the help of sensory stimuli. In using a controlled sensory development environment, many children with autism become relaxed and stimulated enough to learn facial and emotional recognition more easily. This following research addresses some of the problems experienced by autistic children and responds by creating a sensory environment, an app that offers features of digital learning. It is hoped that this research will help these kids to learn necessary context better and will create a relaxed and fun environment just for the benefits of free play. To create the best learning environment for many children with autism, we have to make sure that the physical surroundings are comfortable and encouraging. Many children with autism have a very short attention span for looking at faces, finding it a challenge to recognize faces even when they are familiar and seen daily. For instance, a neighbor or a family friend might make regular visits and yet may still not be recognized. Most children with ASD instead experience a changing small square of perception that appears differently to each child as they focus on different areas of the face. ABA therapist Jennifer Queller suggests that as each individual has very different needs, it is hard to generalize. For the most part, however, individuals affected by autism do experience a wide range of emotions. The difficulty lies in recognizing emotions in other people. Have technologies and games to address autism needs? If we want to ask the research question, how can sensory development and face and emotion recognition can be addressed via digital technologies to create social and behavioral benefits for children with autism? What are the potential benefits to the child with autism and to the parents? Research indicates that over and under stimuli in sensory processing is one of the key issues experienced by many children with ASD, affecting children with autism and their parents. Out of this, I will build tools that address sensory issues to achieve learning in the recognition of faces and emotion. The research on digital solutions to face recognition demonstrates that tools for recognizing faces can potentially be very effective to autism interventions. I thus propose to create an environment suitable for sensory processing before presenting a child with autism a context in which to learn in order to bring about better registered outcomes. For this, I've created two tools, the COSA sensory chair and the FIRA app. These tools help resolve sensory processing issues by limiting sensory stimuli. In the first stage, I focused on face recognition with the FIRA puzzle game app, which was tested by John, a 6-year-old child with high-functioning autism. The results of John's play were recorded to show if the game app successfully helps children to recognize faces and emotion. Seeing and completing a puzzle of the face of an individual from the life of a child with ASD, I propose I might effectively create flashbacks or repeated learning patterns in order to build a new learned skill. The child might also overcome sensory issues with repetitive use of the app in therapies and develop feelings of comfort in recognizing family, friends' faces and emotions over the long term. In addition to the literature reference that supports this approach, I acquired the expertise of Jennifer Queller, therapist at South Asian Autism Awareness Center. Queller is an expert in ABA therapy, working with autistic children. She served as an advisor in identifying symptoms and during user testing stages of this research. Queller recommended non-standardized and non-clinical therapy methods as an approach to autism interventions. Non-standardized and non-clinical therapy methods work well for understanding a child's mind. Furthermore, it has been shown that young children learn faster with digital tools. If we considered that children spend an increasing amount of time using screen-based technology, it can be surmised that they may learn faster using digital tools. The inclusion of music in the app will explain and embed the emotion, as many children with ASD show evidence that their receptiveness to music and rhythm is higher than other stimuli. The FIRA app is combined with an environment where the child feels most relaxed, so they can observe the game carefully at their own pace and interact with it without distraction. There are many examples of use of sensory mood rooms in earlier in autism research and for many other spectrums that need. So we can conclude, as this project is meant to help autistic kids to live in a world where they will experience biases, expecting them to conform to neurotypical behaviors, including recognizing and responding to mood. As autism exists on a spectrum, it would not be right to address and generalize autism as a disorder. It is my hope that this chair and app will help kids on the spectrum to develop skills for better communications in the society. New therapeutic approaches to facial and emotional recognition, stimulating the sensory processing of children with autism, is a promising new area that appears to aid learning in autistic kids. My design concept reflected research showing learning needs of kids with autism and creates a new research area that hopefully will be developed further and will serve as new feature as therapy. As shown, the support of various types of digital technologies for children with autism can be extremely beneficial. They can aid issues faster and create better measurable results for developing routine therapies. To understand these needs, I examined research studies by therapists, philosophers, digital technologists, and designers, as well as parents who are the most important wayfinders, and also undertook user testing reflections through research through design methods. I have come to the conclusion that digital technology can help in autism research by employing therapy tools to engage these kids in social communication via clearly designed products. Since the needs of every child are unique, there is no one size fits all when it comes to autism therapies. This thesis clearly shows that it is critical to consider the design of every element in order to create the best possible learning environment for kids with ASD. Everything from the selection of the fabric used in the cushions to the level of brightness and sequence of lights to the simplicity of the app was considered specifically to be modifiable to each child's unique needs. The COSA chair is customizable and can also serve just as a fun tool if learning is not considered. Also, the FIRA app is only one example to be offered to children with autism. I believe that featured therapies in autism will bring family input and child's choice more into consideration, as we need new research area so that we do not implement the same forced interventions at all. So we can make some suggestions for future research. The studies and examples cited in this thesis demonstrate how much progress has been made in facial and emotional recognition in kids with ASD. Ultimately, it is up to society as a whole to create greater empathy and accessibility for people who live with autism, and to not rely on kids to accommodate typical communication patterns such as mood recognition. However, many individuals with ASD do seek out tools to help them to learn or adapt to common neurotypical communication practices. The most important suggestion for future research, I believe, is to continue to develop individual studies and therapies for autism, since every child has unique problems that need to be observed and addressed individually. Shifting to individualized therapies and tools may serve in home settings or awareness centers for more compact, serving as on-point therapies. Tools like apps or physical development materials for autism can be developed with especially parents' inputs and suggestions to assist the development of product design strategies and to leverage the advantages of digital technologies. Scientific input, as found by research and studies, should follow product development for the benefit of fast-growing technology in the development of autism therapies. As well, interaction and industrial design should be incorporated in autism therapy to research to develop new therapeutic products, services, and methods. The combination of technology and design in the realm of therapeutic products is currently all too rare. This is a shame, as autism tool design is a space of opportunity, and we are in dire need of well-designed, ergonomic, and well-functioning products for kids with ASD. Finally, collaborative work between designers, technologists, therapists, and parents, and people with autism would help to raise awareness and create more functional and useful product development using digital technologies in autism research. Thank you.
I just designed FIRA COSA for face and emotion recognition. It is an app which works to enhance learning in a sensory environment for children with autism spectrum disorder. My age group in my research is 6 to 11 years old. FIRA COSA consists of two parts. One is a game, puzzle game, on an iPad. The chair invites children with autism. When they approach to a certain distance, the chair will start pulsing lights as an invitation to the chair. Once the child sits down, chair lights will stop on the solid color, and that means they are ready to play. So we can put the strap around their laps. Because children with autism, they like to sit still with the heavy objects, and the iPad will help for that. So once they start the game, they can play the puzzle game. Children with autism cannot recognize faces fully unless they see the people every day, like in their daily lives. So selecting, after uploading a certain picture and a certain music, you select one of them, and the child is expected to create the puzzle. Once the puzzle is finalized, you can hear the music with the actual light show. The chair will give you feedback as a rewarding light, which is the LED strip. It glows in rainbow colors. The reason for the music is they learn best with the repetitive learning and reward system.